Hello everyone, today I'm going to be showing how you can make a Vroid character at a couple of different ages. I'm starting with the female character, and then in the future I am planning to do a separate video on male characters since it's slightly different. So to start, I'm actually going to go for here, just going to make a model at about teenage age, which is about the default for Vroid, and I'll start talking again when I get to the next step. Alright, so now here with the hairstyle, I'm going to make a quick note here. That is basically, whenever you're making a hairstyle for a younger character, you might consider essentially going online and finding some reference images of what's trendy. Because very frequently, younger will sometimes result in there being a subculture depending on the area. And if your character is meant to be part of a subculture at this age, which is probably the more likely age than any of the others, then you might want to find certain hairstyles that go with it. For instance, some of them may do like pigtails, or there might be a shortcut, or it might be a buzz cut. Just consider now whether there's a subculture. And I'll also note that one thing here, if the character tries to look younger, adding pigtails can help with that. The defaults are under extensions, but pigtails in particular are associated with younger age groups. So if you're going for the younger end of this range, you might take the short pigtails option here and construct off that. So now, resuming the main part of the video, you might make a different texture for pigtails, but this is essentially the face I'm going to be going from here. This is supposed to be a girl in her early teens to late teens. Late teens would be if she's trying to look younger than her actual age. And here I'm just filling in something I hadn't filled in before. But essentially, this is not the face of a adult, but also not the face of a kid. Now, with the outfit, one thing to note is, again, you may want to look for some that look younger. For instance, the school uniform will automatically make a character look younger than compared to, say, this outfit, which would automatically make them look older. But sometimes you may want to go for the older one as opposed to the younger. And now I'm going to head on to the adjusting to different ages bit of the video. Alright, so now I'm going to show how you can make this model look younger. I'm starting with the younger direction because it's a little more intuitive and easier to get. So to start, you want to make the eyes much bigger. This automatically decreases the age of the character. Next, you want to raise the eyebrows, make them up higher, because again, this is how anime usually shows children. The chin you want to round out. So that option is somewhere right here. Chin roundness, you round it. And then I'm going to head to the body. I'm keeping the outfit the same at the moment. So you first decrease the height. Then you want to increase the head size slightly, or more dramatically, depending on what you're going for. Remove the chest size. You may want to lower shoulder width, and you may want to make the legs a little bit shorter. So now this is a character who's probably elementary school, or might even be a bit younger. Some other things you could do here are the hairstyle you possibly want to modify. So for instance, you might take off the pigtails here and potentially just put little side things, trying to figure out which one's shortest. So yeah, I figure I'll show a quick thing here that can also be handy and make a character look younger. And that is this thing in the front, especially with a thinner hair width. So in general, adding that to the front of most hairstyles will make your character look a bit younger. Sometimes there will also be an additional strip in the middle there, but it just varies. And again, the school uniform fits, but you could also find an outfit that looks more like a romper, for instance. Alright, so back to the teen model. I'm going to now show how you can make the character look a bit older. I'm starting with the less dramatic modification, which is to like a 20-something young adult. So to start, you want to decrease the eye size and lower the eyebrows, the opposite of what was done with the other video. So that, all right. And in this case, I'm also going to turn the eyebrows slightly, but that's just because of how I've drawn them. You probably won't want to do it. Then, one thing that you can take here is make it so that where is it? So you extend the jawline slightly. For a female character, this is a little trickier because you don't really want to because if you take away femme face, you can see that. So here you're trying to keep it at I'm not trying to make her look a lot older here. And you may also want to add lipstick type thing because, well, it's not necessary. For instance, I don't usually do this, but if she would be trying to make herself look a good bit older, she might put on lipstick. And for this age group, she may also end up going with a bolder color than this. For instance, she might go with a bright red type color. And from here, you can just draw this out and, of course, clean up the lines. Do not, leave it as messy as I originally drew it. I just never get things right first try. And that, in general, will increase the age of the face a bit. It's not a dramatic shift, but it can help a little bit. The biggest thing here is you probably want to, first off, increase the height a little bit to adjust the proportions, because you need to adjust it a little bit. And you may also want to slightly increase chest size. But again, some women don't have that. It's just, it can be a quick way to do it. And the biggest thing for this age is change the outfit. A 20-year-old is probably not going to be wearing her school uniform unless she's a K-pop star. So for instance, out of the default outfits, this is, well, no, that's not what well, you could take this one for instance. This is one that I saw used in the video, and you increase the skirt length. You can enter values greater than the value slider, but in general, with this age range, what you're looking at is most likely you want the skirts to be below the knees unless you're making a party dress, in which case you might make it higher. And the clothes are probably the biggest difference to this 20-something young adult age, along with decreasing the eye size. And the eye size is very important. It's probably the biggest shift you can make easily in Vroid. Alright, so now I'm going to bring her older, essentially to the age where she could be a young mother, or even somewhere in her 30s to 40s, depending on various things. So again, eye size you decrease. You might want to make them even smaller in the Y direction. And note, I'm keeping most of the features across all of these. And the lips you might want to do again, but you don't have to. In fact, if she's going to be a mother, she probably wouldn't have time. The mouth width you can leave pretty much the same. And most of the face stuff is kept similar. But one thing that you might do is draw on a couple of wrinkles, essentially. So you can go here and set it to mirror, of course. You want these to be the same across. But at this age, I've found that adding a few under the eyes and off on the side of the eyes can help increase age. And you might also add one on the forehead. Sometimes, if you're going more towards 40s, you would add that, but in this case, I'm not doing that at the second. And when you're drawing wrinkles, I always advise first draw with the base color, and then take a slightly transparent, darker color and draw in the middle of the previously drawn line, or draw on the side to increase the noticeability of it. And you might not draw all the way across. I'm drawing these fairly deep at the moment, and I'm not going especially in depth, but that makes it visible from a distance, like when you're looking at the whole model. And the reason I'm saving that now is because I'm going to be using it again. So with the body, again, you want to increase the height a bit to adjust the proportions so that she looks older. You may want to adjust the bust slightly again. And you can mess with different values to see if you get what you want. Sometimes you'll also increase the waist width. Sometimes you do that with the 20-something as well. And in general, that's a fairly decent proportion. The biggest difference is, again, outfit and hair. So for this age, you want to take off the pigtails unless she's trying to make herself look younger. That will just inevitably make the character model look younger, because pigtails are very associated with girls. So now in here, I still have the same hair material, If you're going on the older end of the range, you might bring it this way to create a, like, well, you need to bring it farther than that. You can bring it over here and add silvery highlights to create a graying sort of look. But this character is not quite, like, she's not that old. So then with the hairstyles, you'll look for what an adult woman would be wearing. So for instance, if I'm going for the mother type of look, you might go over to extensions and add the bun. You might get a messier one, or a, where is it? Or just a ponytail. Just avoid the pigtails. Like, really. And the bun actually can make a character look even older than the age you're going for. But in general, if you're conveying a busy mother, you want a relatively low maintenance hairstyle. So I don't know if I've drawn one of these recently, but there's lots of different ways you can go about it. For instance, she might be going with a shorter cut. She might have decided to keep the length and pull it back in a messy ponytail. It just depends on like how her life has gone. I'll just draw a sample hairstyle here and then come back. And just a note here, whenever you're making short hairstyles in Vroid, you nearly always want to bring this in towards the head to make it so that the hairstyle itself is actually like hugging the head rather than looking like it's supposed to be for longer hair. And this is just a sample hairstyle you might go with. In this case, what I was going for is the type of feel of just a short pixie cut. She doesn't want as much hair to deal with. She's a busy mother. And you could like shift this, but generally a very good way to get different hairstyles is you go online and find pictures of female celebrities around the age you're going for, or animated characters. In general, I lean towards real life models for older women rather than anime, because anime very frequently depicts women a lot younger than you're frequently going for here. And of course, like, just to be clear here, you are going to take off that school uniform again. Like, do not do the school uniform for an older woman. It will not look good. It'll look like she's either trying to relive her youth, which could make sense in some contexts, but it will lean towards a younger character. And like out of the pre-made outfits, this is one I would potentially lean towards for a professional. Although it's very like young professional, there really aren't a lot of pre-made outfits that are put together for older characters in general. You can mix a few pre-mades to get a better version. So for instance, you can go in here and swap the top outfit a bit. Note that there's still that bow on there. I'll check if I can remove it. No, you can't. But you can just experiment and try different pieces and see, like, maybe the male jacket will look better. And in this case, it might. Or you might try the button version. You know, you just try different things until you get something that is the appearance you want. I'm less familiar with the modern because, like, as you can see scrolling through here, I mainly do historical. And now, continuing on to the last one, I'm going to show how to go with a middle-aged to older, talking about both. Alright, so now I'm going to show how to get to an even older age. So to start, I'm going back to the face again, and I'm going to add more wrinkles, because that's generally the quickest way to get a character looking older. So with much older characters like the age I'm now going for, which, note, like, my model in this case is a woman in her like 60s to 70s, and I'll talk a little bit about like how you can get a little younger than that, but in this case I'm going with the older. So to start, the wrinkles on the side of the mouth are usually the quickest way to make a character look much older, and then adding more around the eyes is also quick, as well as adding a little bit more on the forehead. And note, I'm going to add the lines again here. And you can also add, this is more male characters. I don't know if it's going to turn out as well with a female, but you can add additional lines to the nose. Yeah, it's more of a male character thing, but you can play around with that and see if it fits with what you're doing. And note, like, when you're doing this in one step, it's usually easier to make sure you get the same colors. Like, at a distance, this shouldn't be too noticeable, but, you know. And you'll want to add, like, if you're going for older, and particularly, like, she aged, you want to add even more wrinkles in various locations. It just depends on exactly what age you're going. And you just experiment till you find some that look right with the face you're going from. And again, use reference images. Seriously. I highly recommend using reference images from real life with older women. In this case, I'm just going to leave it with that, but if I was personally going to be using this for something, I would add more wrinkles if you're going for a 70s to 80s type look. Then with the hairstyle here, I'm actually not going to adjust it, but I am going to adjust the hair color to that, like, gray or graying. So you can experiment with how different things look. Like, this would be much older than the prior one, which is what I'm showing here. But consider, like, whether it's what you want. And, of course, change the under hair color to match. I'm coming back after I did the hair here because something slipped my mind earlier. You probably want to change the eyebrow color to a darker color. And to do this, you might be able to use Vroid's new functionality, adding the bucket feature. You just click on the two eyebrows and you get the new colored eyebrows. It's a quick way to go about getting a character looking older. Quick note here that slipped my mind earlier. So I forgot to lower the eyebrows farther on the older female Vroid models. So I would advise that you do this and do it on all your models. You might even use a value outside the normal range. And then with the outfits, like in this case, a older woman might dress the same as any other woman, or she might prefer things that are more cozy. Like, you might do robes or loose dresses or etc. And you may also want to, like, this entire video I haven't really shown hand textures, but you may want to add wrinkles to the hands if you think the hands will be visible. However, this was just meant to be an introduction. With everything, you have to play with it to see if it works and gets the look you're going for. And of course, if you can't see the wrinkles from the distance you're going for, darken them. Like, make them visible. Like, when you're making it, it might seem older than you actually want, but very frequently, just adjusting things till they fit is a very good way to go about this. If you have any additional questions on this for female characters, I'm going to make a separate video for male characters, quite simply because the methodology is a bit different, and male characters in general are a little bit trickier in Vroid, then please shoot them in the comments. Thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful.